A very warm good evening to all my viewers. Today, I indeed have a very special guest, a multi-talented lady whom I actually first met 8 years back when she was a marketing leader in one of the top corporate houses here in India. While she still continues to be a top corporate leader, but it's just that she also happens to be one of the most sought after endurance runners here in India. Only a few days back, she became the first Indian woman to have completed the 250-kilometer course of the marathon Des Sables, which is said to be the most toughest and the hottest ultramarathon in the whole world, wherein the runners actually have to run through the dead and barren desert of Sahara. So after this great human feat, she still has some time out for us, wherein she will take us through her entire journey, not only running, but also in general as to how she really keeps herself fit, and yeah. So welcome to my show, Mahasweta Ghosh. Thank you so much for coming in. It's really a pleasure and honor to have you here.
Thank you, Kangan. It's really nice to be on your show. I do remember our introduction in good old days. I guess must be a decade. It's nice to be talking to you and sharing. I'd love to share my journey. As you said, that a lot of people ask me, saying, how do I manage both a corporate career where I've grown professionally, of course, since then, and my fitness venture. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. And let's run along.
Yes. Let's run along. That's the best way to start. Thank you so much. I know it's going to be a big run if I have to run with you. Physically not going to be possible. Yeah. So of course there are so many things to ask you. But to start off with, of course, the talk right down is about your 7 days, 250-kilometer run on the desert of Sahara. You're running through day and night, and then different terrains, right? It's not your typical marathon where you already were acclimatized to, right? Yeah. Also, I guess you also had a Boston marathon before this, which is again totally different. But this is a totally different terrain, different conditions, hot, humid, rocky mountains, sand dunes. I mean, how on earth did you actually make it?
Well, I think as I've always said to everybody who I've spoken to, is that this race is not just a physical race. It's also about what you're made of in your mind. So it's a race which is as much challenging mentally as physically. Physically, I think the training was, of course, needed. I've been running for over a decade now. So training, so to say, was the easiest bit, if I may say. Of course, which included immense amount of running miles, and along with it, strength training, ensuring that you're injury-free, so frequent visits to the physio, taking care of your mobility, agility, recovery. Your nutrition, of course, plays an extremely critical role. But outside of that, I think what really was critical was also nutrition, because as you know, that this is an unsupported race. They do not give you any kind of food, so you have to carry your food for the 7 days, which means that you carry all your meals, all your race nutrition, everything that you need to race, recover, survive is what you got to carry for 7 days for the race. So that part is very critical, because if you do not have enough food, if you're not eating the right kind of food, less is more is a simple fundamental here, because weight is crucial. You cannot just pick up anything and everything and carry, because that's a weight you will carry with you while you're racing, because you race with your bag along with you. So nutrition is extremely critical. So you have to, I think I spend as much time training. I spend at least 50-60% of that time also into planning my nutrition. I do work with a nutritionist who, of course, helped me, but it was me who had to decide what really is working for me, what is it that I would like to eat, what is it that I cannot eat, and then, of course, some must-haves and should-haves and could-haves types. And the third part of it is also to be mentally prepared for it, because I was the only Indian out there. I didn't know anybody out there, like nobody from the organizer, friends, family, remotely anybody. There is also no connectivity. There's no network. Your phone's not working. And even if there is network, you do not have charging facilities. So you cannot use electronic devices, whatever little availability you have, you want to keep it to charge your maybe your smartwatch and all of that. Those were, I think, the preparations on those three big pillars that one needed to do to do a race like that. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, you've never trained in the terrain like that. How did you cope?
Yeah.
I don't think it made a huge difference because, if, like, for example, if somebody's doing a triathlon in the sea, they're not always, people do not have access to training in the sea all the time. But,
Okay.
you probably, but you do train the distance, you build the endurance, you do all of that. So I think my training was bang on. I never struggled with the terrain. Of course, having said that, the terrain was difficult. It was whether people trained in the terrain, they were walking. I didn't train in the terrain, I was walking. So I really don't know what I missed out. Because the terrain is such that some places you cannot run and nobody can run whether you train in the terrain or not. What really comes handy is that how much have you trained? What is your strength level? What is your endurance level? If you do not have those, then any amount of terrain training is not really going to get you through. It was extremely hot this year. It was one of the hottest years that MDS has seen in the past. My advantage going from India, I think we're used to training, and since I live in Gurgaon,
that's what I was about to ask. That's the only thing that will help you. 45 degrees. Yeah.
Yes. So even when I left, I think I was already at like 35 degrees training. So 40 didn't really kill me, which I would like to believe was a certain advantage I carried with me. I wouldn't say it was easy though, but it's just that I didn't think I will die in that heat as against to a lot of other people who are not used to. Like, for example, I can't imagine if somebody who's living in Bangalore goes to run, you're going to find it like a lot more harder. Or if I was living in Bangalore, if I would do an MDS from Bangalore, I think I would have been so much more difficult for me. So I think my tolerance to heat training in Gurgaon conditions has obviously been slightly higher. So that really helped. Outside of that, it is about what you've got within. That's it. And I did do very serious mental preparations, and I think that really worked because I knew that is what is going to get you through.
True. I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, the mental part that you said is so very important, right? Because unlike in a 100 meters race, unlike a short distance race, of course, again, that mental preparation is a little different, but here, when you're talking about a marathon, that's what I was actually about to come to. Now, for example, typically in a short distance, you can, no matter what, you can repetitions, 100 meters, for example, or even for a 200 meters. Even a professional athlete or maybe a amateur can also have a lot of repetition, 100 meters, because 100 meters, right? But when it comes to marathon, how do you actually prepare? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you also need to conserve energy to run a typical marathon of 42 kilometers also. Forget about the one that you did in Sahara. For example, in a 42 kilometer odd marathon, you can't be running repetitions every day, right? I mean, how do you actually build up to the marathon? I hope you...
Yeah, I get what you're asking. And I always tell this as a coach myself, that, to run 100 kilometer, I never run 100 kilometer. It is not, training is not logical. It is scientific. That you build your endurance through science, which means that either you're doing repetitive long runs, you're running on tired legs, you're kind of, doing very fast runs, and then a lot of endurance runs. It's a combination of many things like these, which help you to build your endurance. Nobody in this world trains 42 kilometers to run a 42 kilometer.
Yeah.
So I run 6 days a week. My average mileage in a week varies. Like, it goes probably lowest is about 75, 80 to highest being 130 kilometers in the training period. But that's a gradual progress that we do, which is a combination of some amount of very fast runs and a lot of endurance runs, which is slower than my race paces. That is how typically all good trainers make you run. I have a coach who's based in the US who coaches me for doing any kind of training I do.
Okay.
My recommendation to people who are wanting to get into a sport like this, any form, short distance, sprints, long distances, ultras, is that please get into a coach who trains you scientifically, because in this space, injuries, people bailing out because of injuries is extremely high, because
Yeah.
everybody, there's a lot of peer pressure, and very sad to see and know that there's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of stress people take seeing seeing others. Like I was having this conversation today with somebody regarding one of my trainees, and said, that guy suddenly started running all his runs super fast because he got involved in a group where most of the runners are people from the police.
Oh, okay.
Their training and their endurance levels are far higher than an average civilian who just started training. As a result, what happened is this person has been injured for a very long time.
Okay.
Now, people compare without putting context. It's like, even in corporates, when we do competitive analysis, we do competitive analysis in my space. Like if say I am X company, I compare my competitive analysis is best to my direct competitors, not to like all the others in the world. So when in this space, there is no logic to competition. Competition is completely irrational based on, oh, he's running at whatever pace or she's running at whatever pace, I also need to run that. So it also needs a lot of patience. It needs resilience. There are a lot of bad days. There are good days too, but then there are a lot of, you just need to be patient. You need to take it slow to do the long run. For me, what is critical is that I want to keep running for as long as I can, as my body permits, and which I am ready to take it as slow as it, and that's what I've done. I have come to this stage after running for 11 years. I know my only message to everybody who wants to pick up the sport or in the sport is that give yourself time. There's no rush. And if you are getting stressed doing this, then you're beating the purpose of why you're doing this. This is to de-stress you and not to get you stressed, right? You're being counterproductive and totally counterintuitive, so yeah.
Yeah, well said. Yes. So I mean, especially of course, long distance running, attention level is very high, right? I mean, there are a lot of dropouts of people, saying that okay, enough is enough, right? Because
you're if you accelerate, then you burn out faster, right? It's a simple logic. That you see this trend in corporates as well. If you see a lot of people, senior leaders, start quitting in this whole bracket between 45 to 55, maybe because they've had just too much. I remember when I was doing my master's, I had this professor who used to teach marketing, who was this head of sales in this really large bank, and I never understood at that stage, saying, why would he leave such a plush job? Like when you're in your MBA, that's the place you want to be, and you were like totally out of your mind, saying, why would he do this? I mean, what's wrong with him? Like today I understand, but that's exactly the same reason. Because, and I think it's not just this sport, it is in everything else. That if you accelerate too much too soon, you will burn out, and there are no two thoughts about that. So don't accelerate. You whatever you're doing, I'm not saying that you have all the time, but give yourself time. You're not losing out in anything. So patience.
Yes. I mean, it's so much about progression, right? I mean, even when somebody is in the gym, you just can't start off with some weight that you've never done before, right? It's all about progression. Yes, coming to one very important topic now. You are now talking about stress. No matter what, I'm sure you're also handling a job which is so very responsible. I mean, so obviously stress will be there. I mean, first thing that we all need to do is accept that there is stress, which I'm sure you are going through stress when it comes to corporate, right? So how is it you're managing this? I mean, on one hand, you are doing a stressful job in a corporate environment, and then at the other end, you are preparing yourself for the next marathon. And here again, we're talking marathon, right? We're talking about a 42-kilometer run, full marathon. And even if it's a half of a marathon, it's still 20 odd kilometers. How are you actually managing it? I'm talking about training bit, right?
So I'll split that into two parts. One is the training part. Now, I think I have a job which has flexibility in timing, and I work from home. And that gives me enough time in the morning to train, because I kind of start work a little late, which also means that I work pretty late evening. A lot of people will say, oh, it takes away your family time, whatever. It works for me and my family because we are a fit family. Everybody in the family is into fitness, and everybody's morning starts at 4:30 in the morning,
Oh,
and
really?
we're all out of home
Wow.
by 5:15, 5:30. So it works very well. We have built our lives around it. It's a choice we have all made, that we spend our first half of the day together doing our fitness venture, whatever, and then by lunch 12:30, everybody's gone to their workspaces, and then we meet again at night. Post, we have our dinners in individual timings because I'm at work. When family gets back, they have their own dinner, and then we meet by bedtime. So it's about there are a couple of things. It's about that it's important to me, and therefore I have worked my whole ecosystem around it. It is not like can have, could have. It is a must have in my life, and because of which my life revolves around it. So whatever decisions I make, whatever choices I make are always around it. Like, I mean, a lot of my friends now, they've come around, and now with all this MDS thing, people are appreciative about it. But then I usually never go to late night parties. I generally prefer to either take my food, I eat or go, or I don't go. And everything revolves around that. I believe that if people love me, care for me, understand me, they will respect me for what I do and how I do.
Absolutely.
And even if they don't, I'm sorry, but it's my life, and it's my choice.
Absolutely, it's your life.
People have not supported. Trust you me, Kangan, it's not been easy. Everybody has revolted in their own ways, but I think I've been resilient. It's simple that it's my life, and I decide how I want to live it. You like it, very good. You don't like it, too bad, but then it's still my life. It's a simple fact in life that if you're passionate about something, you got to be resilient. Resistance will come. There's no fun without resistance, right? If life was all like a walk in the park, then it's going to be so boring and isn't it?
So you can appreciate warmth only when you experience cold.
Correct. Absolutely right. So in such circumstances, I think it has been difficult. I wouldn't say it was pleasant. It was unpleasant, but then I didn't resist it. I think I said, okay, all right, you fought, we disagreed, we agreed to disagree or whatever. Okay. Next day morning, 4:00, out there, laced up, ready to run. I think that has helped because I have come this far only because of that attitude. When it comes to work, I think I really, really love my job. I really like marketing. That's, as I say, that outside of running, the only skill I have is marketing. I've enjoyed it. And I think because I enjoy it, I give my 200% in my job as well. You worked with me in the past professionally,
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I've got all the accolades all the time, personally. Yes. If you go back to see my LinkedIn post, my current CEO always comments on my running posts as well. So again, if you are, if you put your 100% into anything, results show. And when results show, everybody comes to appreciate. Then, how many hours have you put, and, whether you're going running or you're taking off on whatever, it really doesn't matter. And I must say that my company, when I went to do this run, gave me 2 weeks of paid leave as a support to my dream.
Yes.
It's rare that companies come around and support to this extent. But I must say that that's the point I'm saying, that I've been a performer at work. They had no reason to, see that she's not going to do what she does. And therefore, they came around and gave me that support. So it is, I believe that it starts with you, first of all, if you want to. And then when you want to, then you work actively towards it. When you work towards it, you got to show the courage, you got to show the resilience, you got to have the discipline, you got to be very, very clear as to that you want to get there. There will be resistance, you got to work around your way through it. And trust you me, with time, all of that will go away and you will see success. Your motivation will also come when you see the success, that you want to do better and better and better. And once you see success, then the resistance also tries to go away. So one of my biggest takeaways of MDS was that resistance is inversely proportional to resistance. That if you are resilient, then gradually your resistance tends to reduce or go away, because people will start seeing results.
True. Yeah, that's very well said. Yes,
you can apply to you, and you can apply to any sphere of life, even in your professional life. So that's how I've been able to cope up. And 11 years I've been doing this. I've never I found my way around it. Let's say it like that.
True. Yes. Yeah. I mean, also what happens is that the thing that you're following so passionately, it only makes you a better, well-rounded personality, right? And that only can help you enhance your skill set at work also, right? Because ultimately, it's about the individual being well-rounded, knowing more things than usual. And yeah, so it's also about breaking the shackles, which is, the resistance that you're talking about. It's all about the mental makeup, which only enhances you as a personality, which ultimately helps the corporate where you're working with, right?
See, I always tell people that I run not just because I love the physical sport. I also especially love what it gives to me mentally and what it makes of me. Things that all corporates desire us to have: strategy, goal setting, decision making, showing courage, focus, whatever, all of that. I practice those things every day when I go to train.
Yes, you do it. You do it practically. Yeah.
That's a strategy. That's a goal. I decide how I'm going to train about it. There are bad days when I'm not able to make it. How do I work my plan A, plan B, plan C? So these are things I do in and out. And I think and as you rightly said, that filters down into my professional life as well. And therefore, probably I've also been successful in my professional life. So it has been a more synergic equation as against being two different lives that I'm leading. And somehow I think I've been able to build that, synergy. I also think personally, and I'd written this blog a while ago. It's called the Venn diagram of relationships.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of talks about saying that, the only way, the commonality between the two people grow is when you grow. Supposedly, say you and I have this professional relation, right? Your company, my company, we did something. Now you have grown ahead and you've started your own channel. I have gone ahead and done this whole running thing. We're individually growing, but here we are talking. So that common circle, which was only related to me doing some event or media versus doing this.
True, yes.
So I say that, when people pursue things, focus on self-growth, your relationships become better professionally, personally, however, wherever you are. So I think that's what running or fitness brings to us as a family as well.
Very well said. Yeah, I mean, it makes so much of sense, right? Yeah, true. Now, talking about the mental aspect, like you all know, and you've also said, that the mental aspect is so very important. Now, you have a dietitian, like you said. I think Fernando would be one of, yeah. Okay. Yes. I actually interviewed him once, so I know. Yeah. So I know he's also from Bangalore, Kwani Nutrition. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I really found his kind of this thing very sensible. The gene testing and all that he spoke about. We also had a lot of common topics, around Novak Djokovic. How he. So he had this, glute. So all this while he was struggling, when he actually was during 2010, Federer and Rafael Nadal would be beating him left and right, and he still couldn't figure. And today he's one of the fittest athletes in the whole world across sport domains. I'm talking not only tennis. Tennis anyway is one of the most gruesome, sports overall. But to start off with, he had this trouble, with fitness and all that. So nobody could find out what happened. And then all of a sudden, he had a doctor, I think in Australia somewhere. He did some gene testing or something like that. And there, the doctor found out that he's got this thing. This is all to do with gluten, basically. So he started with a gluten-free diet and stuff like that. And today, all can see the results. So anyway, now talking about Ryan Fernandez being your good dietitian. So likewise, you also have a physical trainer, like you said, in the US. Now, when it comes to mental aspect, do you have any mental conditioning that you really do? Because ultimately, when you're running, I'm sure there are times when you really feel like giving up. I mean, let's be honest, because it's not a short distance run, right? You're talking about, I mean, going abroad, different altitude, different conditions, unlike India, and then you're running, then you really have to, I'm sure there are also pressure at times where you feel like, okay, today is not my day. I mean, every day is not, there are times when, things might not have worked out. So the mental aspect, do you have any mental conditioning that you do, or maybe you do it yourself?
So I don't have a mental conditioning coach, though I would love to have one in my life. I think they're great value adds. I do work with people in different spheres who help me time to time. They're not like mental coaches, but people who kind of given me support when I have needed professionally. But having said that, I think one thing is for sure, which is ingrained of me, and I will take pride in that, is that I never give up.
Of course,
and I never
we all can see that. Yeah.
Yes, because there are bad days where runs are very difficult. You just don't feel like it. You're like kind of dragging yourself out from the bed to the door. But one thing is for sure, that I will never go back to my coach and say that I could not run today because, I will confidently say that I execute my training plan to almost 99% every month. I've been training with him for 3+ years. There's never been a time. The only probable time is that if I've taken completely sick, like I can't get out of bed. Yeah. So in terms of the mental conditioning, I think the first thing is that accepting that every day is not Sunday. There's Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and there is, rainy day and sunny days. So first of all, I think over the years being training, I have learned that it is okay to have a bad day. Not all days are good days. And then if you don't have a bad day, then you don't know what a good day is. So I interestingly actually keep a calendar to myself, which is which is very funny. But it's a calendar which keeps track of my mental state and my runs as well. So in terms of mental state, I have like a year calendar, and I take it green and red. Green means that I'm doing well, and then red means I'm not doing well. And it could be a bad moment at home, professionally, whatever. There are days when you just you got it probably from the wrong side of the bed. So I kind of track it, and I do score myself at the end of the month saying, how did I do? It's an interesting way to see that when you lay it out like that in front of yourself, you get so much more conscious that, little even silly things like when you're running and then somebody is trying to come on the wrong side, and like your first instinct is to burst out at that guy, and you can just ignore and then just not waste your energy and pass by and go away. Or your maid forgot to put salt in the food. Your first instinct is saying, oh, okay, let's have to do this, that. And say, yeah, you know what? You also goof up at work. It's all right. It's part of life. You're all human. So I think there are days you can cope with it, but there are days you just cannot. So there are bad days. I have bad days too. But I think what really helps is to acknowledge it, to not fight them. That, it's like that. Put your head down, and the bad day will also go by. What doesn't ever change is that I continue doing what I have to do when it comes to training or work or my regular life, however good or bad I feel. Because sometimes you just to go through the motion. You don't get the exact result as you would like. You might not end the day on a call as high as you want to feel on a work day. But you just go through the motion. Tomorrow is another day. It's a new beginning. It's a new start. I think that has really helped tremendously. There are times when I really struggle or hit a wall with my training. I speak to my coach. I ask, I spell out saying this is what I'm feeling, or this is what's going on in my mind, and then he really gives very, very simple yet extremely insightful, suggestions. So I'll just give you a simple example. When I was going for MDS, I asked coach to send me a message, and he sent me this message. It said, Shweta, the main thing is the main thing is the main thing is the main thing. What does that even mean on this earth? And I just said, okay, whatever, Jason is just being Jason. And then as and when I was getting into the training, and the training was getting more and more difficult, it just one day said, Mr. Stop, what is the main thing for me? What really is the main thing? And once you come to that, then that is what he meant, is that it's like that Arjun's eye. Just keep your focus there.
Focus there. Yeah.
That is all that you got to get there. And I think that really got me through MDS in a great deal of way. I just kept my focus and saying that medal is what I want. That is what I got to go through.
Yes.
Till that time, I don't have that medal. Anything and everything can come and go. My focus is still in there. So I think some of it's a combination. I think it's conscious practice. I am beginning to learn more and more is that as actively as I work in my body, I also have aimed to actively work on my mind. I do try and do meditation as often as I can. I read. I'm not like a self-help book person, but I do read things that help me to get insights on how I can cope with myself, which are not self-help. For example, this book called Let Your Mind Run by Dina Castro. She's a runner. And this book talks about her training journey and how she became America's number one Olympian winner, and how she coped with training. How did she work around her training? What did she do when things got difficult? So it's like an inspiration I've taken from her. And this chart I'm telling you is actually inspired from her book.
Oh, really? Okay.
Things like those have really helped me to cope, I will say. So I think that's how I actively work. The long story short, or the summary for anybody who's listening to this, is that everything needs to be actively been working on. It cannot be an accidental anything, because if it is an accidental thing, then it's going to be just another disaster.
Just another disaster. True.
So we have seen many accidental situations in our country and in our lives. None of them work. So you have to be very, very cautiously be working towards where you want to go, and how you want to kind of deal your life. It can be totally being out of control, or you can be in charge and working in a certain path. I think I've chosen the latter for sure.
True. Yeah. I guess part of it is also to do with not only motivation, but also discipline, because motivation, I guess, at times is very short-lived. For example, I buy a new pair of shoes. I see the Olympics during that time. Oh, I'm going to run for 2-3 days. Olympics is over. My shoe also gets worn a little bit. I stop running, right? Motivation over. So what I do beyond motivation is discipline. I think that's where things really, that's what willpower, that's what discipline is all about, right? Like you said, running on those days when you feel like, okay, today I'm not feeling like running, but you're still running, right? I think that's where it matters, right?
So you're a winner when you do it, when you don't want to do it.
True.
If you want to do it, if it is easy, then everybody will do it. And that's not what defines you. What defines you is the days when you don't want to. When it is like Gurgaon is showing 90 degrees humidity, and it's just horrible to run in this weather. But then you're not going to not run. When it's like 5 degrees in Gurgaon, it's like foggy. You can't see. You can only probably see 10 meters ahead, but you still go. We still joke around and do things and so my thing to everybody, and mostly to myself, is that if it is easy, then everybody will do it. And what defines you is that when you do not, or you cannot, is when you do it. That's what champions do. That's how champions are born, if there is no other way.
True, absolutely. Yes. True. Yeah. In fact, the same thing was said by Mike Tyson as well, that what you actually do when you don't feel like doing, that's what champions are all made of, right?
Correct. That's a differentiation between anybody who's up there. I'm sure Djokovic and Mike Tyson and nobody, Sachin Tendulkar, name it. They all have bad days. And in mid of the game, I'm sure they are not feeling, even maybe they are World Cup, but they're not feeling 100%. They're not going to give up and say, oh, you know what, I'm not feeling 100%, I'm not going to go play. You still got to go, you still got to show up, you got to still do the brave run. And that is what is going to define who you are. That is how Sachin Tendulkar is made, or any of these big leaders are made. And
absolutely, yes.
It applies across any sphere of life. And these are character traits. These are not to do with just sport or corporate or professional or anybody. I think these are character traits, and this is what defines who you are. And I'm a big believer of that fact. So.
Absolutely, yes. True, yes. Now, talking about you preparing for a marathon, under different conditions. For example, you went to Boston, right? Then I'm sure that you also went to other places here in India where, again, the weather is totally different from, unlike your Delhi. I guess when you run in Delhi, almost all other places here in India is comfortable. But anyway, there are things like altitude, stuff like that. So how do you actually acclimatize? I mean, do you go there 2-3 days prior to that? Try to get adjusted to the weather. For example, when you went to Boston, how you actually prepared? Of course, you prepared
So,
much before in India, but how about acclimatizing there and then doing that?
yeah, small correction. I didn't go to Boston. I qualified for Boston. Now,
Oh,
just
okay.
just for the listeners to say is
Okay.
that Boston is the only marathon in this world
Yeah.
that for that even to participate in the lottery to get into the marathon, you have to qualify.
Right,
And
right.
that is why it is known as one of it's called the Mecca of amateur runners.
Mhm.
It comes as a part of the 6 world major marathons, which make the 6-star world majors, as they call it. It's a property owned by Abbott.
Mhm.
It happens in Berlin, Chicago, New York, Tokyo, Boston, and London. I've done Berlin, Chicago, and New York, and I qualified for Boston when I raced in Berlin.
Oh.
Now, the interesting part is that in September this year, Boston will open their lottery, to which I can apply because I have qualified.
Acha.
Now,
okay, that's great.
if I'm lucky enough, I will get through. But the good thing is that I have enough time buffer in cutoff to get through. So I will go through. And I shall be going and racing in Boston in 2024 April. Now, coming back to your question is that first thing is that international races are a lot of fun because the support that the community provides, the city shuts down. I've run in places like Jerusalem and Barcelona and, of course, the world majors and Budapest and all of that. The city shuts down. Everybody is on the road cheering you.
Yes.
And they don't know you or whatever. There's like, even through the 23 miles or 42 kilometers, there's people on the road cheering you, getting you everything. They're playing the music. It's usually on the Sunday. So you'll see a lot of these bands jamming up on the road and all of that. So the environment is intoxicating. I typically travel a couple of days ahead because I love to travel. So it gives me a great opportunity to travel and see the city. So even if I can't stay back after the race, I try and go ahead, which gives me time to acclimatize, see the city a little bit, I'm not a big fan of doing a recce of the route in which I'm going to run and all of that. Like even if the route is bad, it's not like I'm not going to run and come back, right? So what's the point? Like let there be the race day surprise, as I say. But I usually go before hand. And weather's a weather, you have no control. I step out tomorrow to run and it might just pour cats and dogs and my training is going to go for a toss. I'll still run and come back. So yeah, there aren't really what do you call, you really can't do much about these things, right? But the good fun is that when you go to a race like these, there are just so many people. You can see that as if the entire city has a festival going on, which is the marathon. And it's you can see from the demeanor of people, right from the flight to the airport to wherever you're going. So it's like a big whole family out there. And a lot of times my partner travels when I run, and it's actually great fun. You can see, and then next 3 days, everybody's going to flaunt their medal as if it's like the Swarovski that you have earned from something. And places are fun. People give you discounts if you have a medal. They say free beer or free something, and your metro tickets are free, and so on and so forth. So I think it's overall a great fun, sport, especially if you're doing in other countries.
True. Yeah, you're so lucky. First, I mean, of course, you have made your own luck. Lucky in the sense that's a very wrong word to say. Luck is it's all about 1% luck, 99% perspiration, like they say.
Yes. It is all about. It's all about how much you need to sweat.
True. Yes. And you deserve all of that, actually. Yeah. True.
Thank you.
So can you have a few rapid fire questions?
Sure. Bring it on. I always enjoy the sprints.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. Yes. Yeah. Your favorite sports person?
Djokovic.
Oh, really? Wow. He's mine too.
He's a stunner of a person, and he's like spirit in the way he plays the game, his whole attitude. I am a big fan.
Yes, it's the best. I mean, even with me, I started with Rafael Nadal, who used to be my favorite. But the fact that he went, I mean, the fact that Djokovic was always up against the wall, the whole crowd will boo him because they're either with Federer or Nadal. So that really, made me think. It's not that he has the finesse of a Federer or, uh, Rafa also has a different kind of aura, but the kind of mental makeup that he has, I just out the world. I mean,
He is one player who shows that, if you want, you can. He fought all odds, and he
all
is where
odds.
he is. He's not the most powerful. He's not the most healthiest with the
Yes.
kind of physical challenges he has, but
yeah.
he has shown that if you want, you can. There is no stopping. So I think that's why he really, I relate to his attitude in life more than anything else, and it's always Djokovic. I am a big fan.
Yes, it's all about what you have between your ears, right? That's what he really
Absolutely.
believes in.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Yes. Your favorite marathon course, something that you might have experienced or maybe not experienced.
Berlin Marathon.
Yeah. Okay.
Berlin.
Okay.
If I have the pocket enough, I would want to go and do Berlin Marathon every year.
Yes. Okay.
But it is one of the nicest courses, most amazing event. Just all things good. I've been there once, going there this year. It's my most favorite race.
Wow. I'm not sure.
And of course,
MDS. Sorry.
And of course, MDS.
Oh yeah, of course. That is totally out of the world. True. If I'm not mistaken, I guess the world record by Eliud Kipchoge was done at Berlin Marathon, right?
Last year, he and I ran the Berlin Marathon on the same
day. Oh, really?
Yeah, he was there. He did his 2:01:19.
Yeah, 2:01. Yeah. Right.
In Berlin Marathon last year, we were also running. There.
So in the same race, he broke the record. You're saying? I mean, he's a tremendous runner, right? I mean.
Yes, we had a different vibe. When he finished his race, we had on the road, they'd written his timing, and it was truly inspirational to see that. Oh, well, look at the timing. I mean, we can't even think.
True, absolutely. I mean, and plus he started off with as a 5,000 and 10,000 runner, I guess, in the Olympics, and then he moved to
as a marathoner runner. I think I really respect Kipchoge again for the value he brings to the sport, his attitude towards how he deals with being the fastest human being. No pride, no ego. Success is a day of yesterday, and then today is another day, and I'm working towards next. I think some of his interviews are really eye openers of that, being there, doing what he does, how humble he is. He said, I think in one thing he said after his Berlin interview, seeing, and he said, you should learn this one art of saying no.
I actually saw that. Yeah. It's like the way you said that.
Relate to it because there's so many times you go and people will say, "Oh, you can eat this piece of cake, your runner. You run it out tomorrow." And I'm like, "No, I won't. I'm sorry, I'm not eating. I will eat when I want to. I'm not eating because you're telling me." So I think it's such an important message to everybody, even whoever is not running or not doing anything else. One should know the skill to say no.
Absolutely.
And that needs strength. That needs courage. It's not
absolutely easy. Yeah. It's so difficult to say no when a birthday cake is cut, right?
Yes. It is courage for yourself to control your greed. Yeah. It is courage to say that you socially being unacceptable.
Yes.
People are not going to be happy with that. There's so much more. It needs a lot of courage to say.
More than the greed, I'm talking about socially, people not accepting, right? Because everybody else is having that, and you're not having. Oh, what is this guy up to?
Yeah. Oh, show off and this and that. You're so annoying. You're so irritating.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Doesn't change anything in me.
Yeah. Learn to say no. Seriously. Yeah.
You got to be a little thick-skinned, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. if you are a typical Bengali, what do you say, somebody who loves Bengali sweets and stuff like that. So what it would be if it has to be between Misti Doi and Rasgulla?
Rasgulla any day. I have a very big sweet tooth. If left to me, I would only eat sweets. But then I'm a big believer of this fact that you earn your treats. And
Okay.
I definitely eat it when I have finished my races in the year, like whatever I'm training for. Like I typically maybe do 1 or 2 races in the year. So I eat it when I have, like I said this, for example, I stop eating more. I live a very, very healthy life. But then I say that, okay, once I finish my race, I probably treat myself to a pizza, or I'll, eat dessert or eat ice cream or whatever. But on a regular basis, I wouldn't. So that's my pick. Or maybe I would say if it's after my race, then I'll eat both. Then I wouldn't pick. But if you insist in picking, then it is Rasgulla for sure.
True. I mean, you earned it, right?
Yeah, you got to earn it. You got to earn it.
Yeah. Okay. So if tomorrow, if you become the sports minister, what is the first thing that you'll do? Because I know
I will make it mandatory for everybody to be being 30
to run a
40
marathon.
minutes.
Don't say that.
No, 30 to 40 minutes of physical activity mandated for everybody who is in it's going to become like a mandate. I'll probably hook up with some tech company and say, find me a gadget which will have them swipe through their Aadhaar card or PAN card to say that, they are doing it. I don't know. I'll put all my tech experience in play.
Yeah.
But I think the root cause of so much will get resolved if people just get up and get active. Their health, their medical bills, their attitude towards everything, there's so much that will strengthen if people just learn to get active.
Yeah.
We'll become a better community and a better society is my ardent belief.
Yes. I mean, I guess India has evolved a little bit. I will not. There's still some distance to go. I mean, things like Halo games, all those things coming up. I guess we are in a better. We are in a better state.
From deep sleep to slumber.
Yeah.
From deep sleep to slumber, but you have to wake up.
Yes.
I would really want to wake this country up.
True. Yes. Delhi or Bangalore? You've been in both the places. You stayed in both places. You might lose a few friends in a bargain.
No, I think I will take Delhi.
Delhi? Okay.
Yes.
That disappointed me. Anyways.
Yeah, it disappoints Ryan Fernando the most.
Sorry?
So it disappoints Ryan Fernando the most.
Oh, okay.
Because he's there and I'm here and we don't.
Yes. True. Okay. Now one final thing that it's more of an advice rather than anything else. What would be your advice to all those people who are still struggling to make the first run happening? First run happening in the sense we all are in the stage wherein, okay, tomorrow I'm really going to get up early in the morning and do a 10 minutes run or 15 minutes run, but still struggling to do that. So what is your advice? How to take the first step? Because the first stage has to be taken at some point in time, right? And then, of course, the consistency, all the things will matter. But how to take the first step, getting up early in the morning at 5 o'clock and then do that first run, that hasn't planned all this while. So how do you, what's your advice?
So I will give 2 suggestions to start. And first is to do the chart, and the chart of saying that, don't say run, say, because when you say run, oh my God, I've never run before. All the mates saying knees are going to go and hip is going to go and brain is going to go one day. But the only thing is that, 30 to 45 minutes, I will do walk, run, whatever I can for, say, the next 30 days. Put it up in a chart and score yourself saying, okay, did, not did. The moment you see it, you see how it's like a scorecard. There's a reason why HRs have scorecards on simple, same logic, right? Because you're talking about human behavior at the end of the day. So when you put the scorecard in your front, like I have it printed in front of my desk, that chart that I'm talking about, because it's a reminder every time I do it. And I'm like, it is my reaction in the house. I'm like, oh my God, one more cross today. Like, it's like, so when you put that, you're surprised to see how you will behave yourself. Number one. Two is that nobody said you have to do it in the morning. Don't
That's a very
put
good point.
unrealistic goals.
Yes.
Your goal is to go and do it 30 to 45 minutes. You can do it at 8 p.m. in the evening if that is A. As again saying that 6 o'clock. A, you've never done it. B, you're saying wake up at 6 o'clock and do it. C, you're saying, oh, I have to do 1 hour. You're putting too much stress. What is important? The main thing is the main thing, right? The main thing is for 30 days,
your coach
to go in your shoes and got to move. So just focus on that. What time you're doing it, where you're doing it, all of that is not important. If you can't go out and do it in the treadmill. If you can't do it, walk inside the house. Don't run, please, but you can still walk inside the house if you need to be. Staying active is the point, right? So if you do that, I'm sure you will be able to. Most people fail because they put this very unrealistic goal. Every day, 5 a.m. I'll wake up. One day you wake up, 2 days you wake up. After that, you are saying, oh, I'm feeling sleepy in the office. I can't work. I can't focus. My family's craving this, that. You're putting just unrealistic goals. Smart goals. That is why we say smart goals. So keep it real. The second thing is that every human being works with a reward mechanism. If you really want something, then say that, okay, 30 days, if I do this, I'm going to reward myself for this. Like I do sometimes. I know that when my training is really getting critical, like horrible, then I say, okay, if I finish my 4 weeks of this training, I will say, treat myself to whatever, half a slice of cake or whatever.
Okay.
So get yourself a reward system and work towards that reward actively. A combination of these two, I am sure, is going to make progress in most people. Don't make unrealistic goals. The focus is that you got to move. So keep moving, and just reward yourself for doing it. And you can break it down. You can say, okay, 15 days I do it. I'm going to go and get myself maybe whatever, a tiny piece of chocolate. 1 month I'll get myself a rasgulla. So treat yourself to that. So I think those are my 2 suggestions for people who want to start and keep going.
True. Yeah, I mean, there's never a perfect timing, right? Okay.
Correct. There's only time.
Yeah. There's only time.
There is only time. There is only time. There is no perfect time. There is no good time. There's no bad time. There is only time.
Yeah.
And we complicate it by using these unnecessary adjectives to.
True.
There is just time.
Yeah. And also, I guess waking up 5 o'clock in the morning and again becomes a big excuse, right? Oh, it's 5 anyway. I can't wake up. So let's sleep. That's another thing, right? Yeah.
You can, when I was in Wipro, I remember this lady. She used to walk during the lunch break because she didn't have time in the morning. She had to go to drop her kids to school. Evening was difficult, so she used to finish her lunch quickly, and then she used to actually walk in the basement every day for 30-40 minutes. So it's like that. They stop giving excuses. True. There is time, so find that time. Nobody said that only if you walk at 5 a.m. is when you go.
True.
Right? So don't put your goals realistically. Smart goals is the key, and smart goals are not subjected to a PowerPoint presentation. It's applicable to our day-to-day lives as well. And this is an ideal example of how applicable it is to our lives.
So it's not only about the 5 a.m. club, you can also be part of the 8 p.m. club, right?
Club?
Yeah.
When you don't club?
Yes.
It is a great opportunity to do family bonding as well. Maybe you and your partner can both go out and do this together. It could be a great family initiative, as again saying that I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock and go and do it. Or I'm going to some unrealistic goal like that. A lot of women who say, a lot of women say that, they have to drop their kid to school and then they come back and they sit with their chai. That's a perfect time to go and do it. And, in today's world, there is so much option available. The gyms, there are all societies have clubs. If, most of the time the weather is fairly decent to go out and do it as well. So, it is just about being realistic about it and about saying that, how badly you want it.
How badly you want it. That's nice to put. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you so much, Mahasweta. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
And before I let you go, I just want to say
Yes.
that one thing that nobody's going to do it for you.
Absolutely, yes.
You know, your colleague, your doctor, your husband, your wife, your parents, your kids, nobody's going to do it for you. You got to do it for yourself. And if you cannot do it, you're going to be a burden to yourself and to your entire family.
Yes,
you know, you being sick
yeah.
is no good to anybody in this world. And if you cannot do it and you cannot take care of yourself, you're actually being selfish by being such a burden in future to your family. So you got to get up and you got to do it for yourself. That's the only way to do it. There is no rocket science in that.
Yeah, basically we have to love ourselves a little more than we have been doing all this while, right?
Yeah. When people say that you're being selfish and saying you're being selfish out of being otherwise, is because if you don't do it, you in and out of the hospital, your kidney gone and your liver gone and your something gone. Your husband or your partner and your kids are going to actually suffer because of you. Do you realize that? Why not just get up and try to fix yourself? I'm not saying that you still won't have it, but at least try. You might delay the process. You know, you might, your eventuality is eventuality, but you might have longer time to get there, or you might not even get there. You at least have a chance, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we need to give ourselves some chance, right? Yeah, true, yes.
Correct.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mahasweta. I mean, seriously, I mean, it's been, of course, it's been inspiring to hear you. But more than that, the practical aspect that you showed to all of us, you know, because like you said, having realistic goal is so important, right? I mean, that really stuck me, you know, because not necessarily that you have to wake up at 4 o'clock or 5 a.m. in the morning to get your stuff done. You can even do it while coming back from your office. I mean, basically, if you want to do it, you will do it. I mean, you'll not make any excuse that, okay, today I couldn't get up early in the morning, so I couldn't do it, right? And more than anything else, you yourself have done it. So obviously, it's not like you are saying something that has not been done before. You yourself have done it, and you're showing it to us. So that itself, So that itself is an inspiration. And of course, to all your runs, you're only getting better, right? And you'll only get you'll only get more and more, better at your runs. And of course, all the best for your Berlin run, which I guess is happening in the month of September.
Yes, September 24th.
Right.
Yeah.
All the best for that as well. And of course, there are so many miles left in you, right? And keep enjoying every mile that you run. And keep on, of course, inspiring us as well. And thank you so much. And more than anybody else, I'm selfish a little bit at the moment. You have helped me.
I'm glad.
Yes. So thanks a lot. And and all the best. And keep on doing all the great work that you're doing for yourself and also making us proud at the same time. Thanks, Mahasweta.
Thank you very much, Kangan. Really enjoyed speaking to you. I just want to leave with one thought that if I can, everybody can. So,
yes. Sure.
Take care.
We all can.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Take care.